So, we've been dealing with the question, are you depressed? And when we ask that question, there are so many things that are incumbent in that question. It's not as easy to decipher as it may seem. Now, a lot of people are having the discussion about allegiances right now. But as you know, whether you're here in America or you're in India or you're somewhere in Africa or in Sweden or in Australia, wherever you are in the world, you know that there are different groups, different allegiances, different political inclinations, things of that kind. But there are certain motifs that you will see throughout the world. So, one of them, when you ask the question, are you depressed? We talk about this idea of privilege. Now, there is that political discussion of privilege in this country, maybe racial, but we're going to talk outside of that today. We're going to talk about, and you tell me if you've had this experience also, the understanding that there are many different kinds of privileges. Okay, so I'm going to get to talking to who's in the live, but I want to set the stage. First, so hear me out. There are many different kinds of privileges. So I don't necessarily believe it. Aside from the racial conversation, let's go beyond that. I don't really believe that when somebody tells you that you are not privileged, that you should just accept that. Or when somebody tells you that this person naturally has it easier than you do, you should accept that. Because if you really look statistically, sometimes the groups of people who feel the least happy in society are those who are perceived to have the most. So when you really talk about privilege, the real privilege that people want, so again, we're asking the question, are you depressed? And I'm going to go over 7 things today. The real thing when you talk about privilege that people want is to be happy. So what privilege are you really talking about if you are not happy? So let's talk about number 1, okay? If you are of a group, and let's say there are groups all over the world, all different races, religions, backgrounds. So let's talk above that and beyond that, so that people who are living and listening all over the world will not say, oh, I can't really understand this conversation. It's so endemic to this particular group. This is a worldwide phenomenon. So if you're part of a group, and let's say the men in that group publicly put down the women of that group, regardless of where you are in the world, whatever system you're a part of, that is a way of disempowering yourself. Because if you're putting down the women of your own group, you're putting down your sisters, your mothers, your cousins, your aunts. You're putting down the people who look like you. As much as you may want to separate yourself, when you have a child, you're putting down your own child. You're putting down your own loved ones by putting down the women in your group. And regardless of where you want to fall on any political conversation, people outside of your group will not respect you, regardless of what you say and how you try to frame yourself as a free thinker and someone who won't be forced into any kind of ideology, and someone who will not be compelled to vote along a certain party line. When you disrespect the women of your group or how people identify you, wherever you are in the world, whatever color you are, whatever religion you are, whatever background, People outside of your group will not respect you. So even if you think you are gleaning something financially on a personal level, you're losing something even more immediately than you think. Because people will look at you and your group and say, wow, they're so easily manipulated. We can offer this little pittance of money or a little bit of fame or a little bit of attention and get this person to so disrespect the women of their group and of themselves, which is ultimately what you're doing when you disrespect the women of your group. So when you talk about privilege, and you talk about people wanting proximity to privilege, be careful, number one, with this idea that the privilege lies with those who have the most. What we want is to be happy. What we want is to be happy. So if you are not happy, you cannot truly say that you are of the most privileged group, because that's what we want. People who want power because they feel it will make them happy. They feel that being able to tell others what to do, or even feeling like they have agency in their own lives, will somehow bring them happiness. People who want money because they want to be happy. They believe that having more money, being able to buy more toys, being able to live wherever they want, being able to travel, will bring them happiness. So people who want money want to be happy. People who want a romantic relationship, they want to be happy. They are not saying they want to be with another person because they think that person will bring them down and make them miserable. They want to be happy. So what thing is it that people want? When is anyone foraged for gold then other than whatever it is they're looking for, they somehow believe it will make them happy? Even if they listen to sad music, there's a part of them that gains a certain pleasure or happiness from being enveloped in the sad music. So even if they're listening to sad music, in the end, they're still seeking some kind of happiness. They still want a pleasure from whatever it is they're engaging with. So when we ask the question, are you depressed? And we talk about 7 things that I'm sharing with you, that's the first. When you talk about privilege, what is it really? To be happy. If you don't have happiness, you're not truly privileged. Which brings us to number 2. If you like putting other people down, or if you like to see that other groups don't rise, other people don't rise, that's going to add to your unhappiness. That's going to add to your being depressed. There's something natural. Have you ever gone up to somebody in the street or somewhere and you've asked them for directions and they get so exuberant and so excited and so engaged in trying to help you? I believe there is something in the human being that wants to serve. It is not an inclination that you should fight, in my opinion. Of course, these are all my opinions. These are just our thoughts and opinions, not professional advice. And make sure you're old enough to listen to the live, watch the live. So since we have those disclaimers out of the way, yes. Have you ever, you've asked someone for help, a stranger, and they become so imbued with the desire to see you get whatever it is you need in that moment, to see you get those directions, and they don't know you. That is so powerful. It's also very healthy for that person. But that is so powerful, to want somebody else to get what they need, to intrinsically have that desire for somebody else to succeed. That is so beautiful. And it is so healthy for you. And when we ask the question, are you depressed? Things that are good for you mentality-wise are also wonderful for your physiology. So don't forget about that. I'm going to get to your comments in the live, but let me just give you a couple more points. So that we looked at number 1 and number 2 in Are You Depressed? 7 things I want to tell you. So number 3, I recently heard a girl saying that there was a discussion in her community that they should not help people of a particular background. That is the sickness that people believe they're harming someone else. I'm going to paraphrase, but you've heard that saying, something like revenge is like drinking the poison and waiting for the other person to be harmed. When you are taking it upon yourself to get back at someone, you are metaphorically, you are ideologically drinking a poison. So when you are saying, oh, don't help this group, don't help these people, they are bad people, you're taking in a poison that can poison your mentality, diminish your wealth, and hurt you physiologically. I know someone close to me who is in medicine talked about the number of negative chemicals that are released in your body when you do something unkind to somebody else. So when you engage in those things and you really believe that you are harming someone else, the first person that you're harming is yourself. So when we ask this question, are you depressed? 7 things I want to tell you, and I'm going to get to your comments in a moment. Remember that treating others in an unkind way is first harming yourself, is first limiting yourself, is first being hateful to yourself, because it will never advance you. So let me go and just take a little peek before I go back and look at what you guys are saying, and just give a like as you come into the room. Oh wow, Jake Shakes is here. Jake Shakes is here. So I'm so glad. Now, let's look at what Jake Shakes says. Jake Shakes, by the way, before I read what Jake Shakes says, Jake Shakes is one of the members on modelpoetry.com, and it is growing. We have so many people who want to be members at modelpoetry.com, and it is just beautiful what is happening there. So you can go to the site, take a look, see the celebrities that are helping us, see the companies that are sponsoring our work. It's amazing so we just reconnected. So Jake Shakes says, hey, sorry I haven't been here for a while. I love getting on the live, but football kind of interferes sometimes. So Jake Shakes, it is so wonderful always to hear your voice, and you're a person of such confidence, and a person who loves to share their ideas. Very, very powerful to hear from you. So hi, Greasy Goose. Greasy Goose says, what? I'm glad that you're here, Greasy Goose. We welcome everyone here. This is a place where people come to get away from it all. Celebrities peek in. Celebrities are so every once in a while you may see that the live disconnects and then connects again. And this brings me to point number 3. We've talked about this before. When you have something valuable to share, you may find different technical difficulties. You may find little strange things sometimes. But remember that when you have something of value to share, you're going to find that sometimes it's going to be more challenging. When you are sharing something that is dismissible or even negative, I think many times in the world, you may find that it's easier to get on. It's easier to get through certain doors. But when you want to do the right thing, when you want to do something that's different, you will find that you will have those kinds of blips. So in this live, you may hear me connect and disconnect. There are going to be those technical things happening. Why? Because people tell us all the time, what you share is helpful. What you share enriches my life. What you share, just as I just said, the live just disconnected again. So you'll see the live, and you guys can count how many times this live will disconnect, and that will serve as evidence, as support of what I'm saying. Just disconnected again, and you guys are witnessing this in real time. So let's get to number 3. I think we're on number 3. If not, we'll give you a bonus today. So for number 3, and you guys that are here, just give a like. You're here in the room. Doesn't hurt anyone. In fact, it makes you even more beautiful to just hit that like button. We know that you want others in the world to gain something. And when you hit that like button, you're making yourself more beautiful. You're adding beauty to your own physiology, in my opinion. You're helping your own immune system to just give a like. And it doesn't take anything away from you, but it adds to the people around you. So let's look at the next item. When we ask, are you depressed? Let's look at those. Somebody was just talking about somebody who's very well known, and they were saying that this person who's, I think, started as an actress and is a singer and is quite well followed on Instagram, although you know at modelpoetry.com we don't believe that numbers relay everything, but sometimes it can be evidence of someone's a job that they're doing. Sometimes. And this person that I'm talking about who's in the public eye happens to be, in my opinion, somebody who's powerful in a very positive way. And they said recently that she lost followers, and the person that was discussing this posited that it was because I think his name is Sebastian. Live just disconnected again, so count with me. How many times are we being disrupted? It's okay, it's fascinating, just because we're bringing you something positive. So yes, they said she lost millions of followers, and they were positing that the reason why was because she's in a very good place right now. She's doing very well right now. And there are people who, I guess they call it hate watching, which always concerns me when people are present but they don't give a like, because it begs the question, are they hate watching or do they want to see you advance? If you're here in the room, just give a like. They were saying that she's doing so well. She lost followers because there are people who don't like to see that she's doing so well. Thank you for the hearts. Must be the person who just came into the room. Thank you so much for being here. You're absolutely wonderful. We were concerned because we're looking for people to give those likes. So make sure you give a like. I think there are a couple of people who are resistant to doing that, which is very concerning. So just give a like. It doesn't hurt you, and it adds to the people around you. Yeah, so they were saying that she lost followers, and they were saying that it was because she's doing so well that people don't want to see her doing well, so they unfollowed. Or that they would actually follow and unfollow so that it would be registered somehow that this person lost followers, just so that it's perceived that she's not doing well. And that brings us to the next point. You know, if we're being honest, it can be a challenge when you feel that things are kind of tough for you. You feel that others have unfair advantages. You feel that you've really made efforts, but doors have been closed to you. And then you see others for whom it looks like they've gotten really extraordinary opportunities. Doors were opened for them very easily. They didn't really have to fight or work that hard for what they got. And I can understand, if I'm being honest, sometimes the resentment that can come to watching that when you don't feel like you yourself are getting opportunities or are being advanced. But I remember taking a test one time, and oddly enough, in the test, there was a question, and it talked about how it was basically, just to condense it, talking about basically when you hate on someone, it was something like having a bucket or a boat or something of that kind. And every time you hate on someone, you're putting a rock inside that bucket or that boat. And every time you see someone doing well and you speak negatively about them, or you don't wish them well, or you try to stand in their way, it's like putting another rock, in that bucket or in that boat. And it was weird because it was a test. And you wouldn't expect it to be teaching something so seemingly ethereal on a test. But it was saying you fill it up with enough rocks, and basically mixing metaphors here, but you've snuffed out your own opportunity. So I thought that was really interesting. Even when it hurts, even when it really hurts, because you think it's unfair, you're not getting the kind of opportunity that you should, still wish the best for others. Still try to help them. I really believe that your success, not only is that intrinsically the right, I believe you're destroying, we just came back again, reconnected with the live. I believe that's destroying your own opportunities. So let's move on to the next one, number 4. If you sit around, are you depressed? If you sit around and you dwell on the past, and you think about how people hurt you, and you think about how people wronged you, maybe it seems obvious, maybe it's even, a truism or a trope, you've heard it before. But when you do that, you stay on the past and you ruminate and you think about how people wronged you, obviously you cannot move forward. It's also very bad for your physiology, very bad for your body to be stuck in the past, to be stuck in those past hurts, and to just go over and over on them in your life. The power of forgiveness cannot be quantified. When you forgive, that was a Freudian slip, but I said when you give instead of when you forgive, but it too is a way of giving. But first, you're giving to yourself when you forgive others. So healthy. You want to talk about going and eating an apple, a banana, going for a run, taking your vitamins, eating greens. So many wonderful things you can do for your body, in my belief. But forgiveness is one of the best things you can do for your body. When you let go of someone or an experience that hurt you, you have no idea how you are empowering yourself, how you are strengthening your body, in my opinion, how you are fortifying your immune system, that you forgive that person that hurt you, that you let go of what it felt like, that you let go of how disappointed you were, that you let go of how you thought they loved you and then you felt betrayed. When you let go and you forgive, a whole world is opened up for you. Opportunities are opened up for you. New relationships. a new relationship with yourself. So forgive easily. Don't dismiss others, but forgive easily and be able to walk on. So number 5, in Are You Depressed? 7 things I want to share with you. Talking behind people's back. It is something that, not only for the obvious reasons, anybody who's really using their head will realize that if you can talk with them about someone else, you can talk with someone else about them. So there are practical reasons why you wouldn't want to do that, because people will not trust you when you're constantly talking behind other people's backs. Of course, especially, oh my goodness, when, your friend, somebody, they know you to be a friend, they know it to be somebody that you like or care about, and you're talking about them, people will not trust you. But also, in my opinion, I think you may get to the point where you don't trust yourself. When you constantly talk behind someone's back, can you talk to them about it? You might start to feel like a coward in your own life, that you can't. Now, I'm not talking about when it's a dangerous person, or you're putting yourself in some kind of domestic situation or anything, God forbid, you have to be careful. But I'm saying but talking about someone behind their back just to make yourself feel better is something that after you're done, you just feel so bad. And we've talked about this one before, just reconnected again. And we've talked about this one before, jealousy. Again, it can be hard I think when you're a kid, you might have less of an inclination to be jealous, because it's like, wow, you got that, I can get that too. But as you get older, and if you start to feel your opportunities narrowing, but others have those opportunities. So be mindful of jealousy, because it will impede you in so many ways. It can be hard to think straight when you're jealous and you're focused on somebody else and the blessings and the gifts that they're getting. And number 7, are you depressed? 7 things that I want to tell you. You've heard people say, don't stay online all day. Don't watch TV all day. Don't, you want to be active. You want to be contributing. You want to be doing things of value. But also take out some time to do things that do bring you pleasure. Because let's say you're working in a situation where a lot of people come to you with sad things, difficult things. It's been said you can't make anybody sad enough, or you can't be sad enough to make anyone happy. So take time to do some of those things that bring you pleasure. And if you can't do it for yourself, which you should, I think, then you can also think of doing it for others. Because when you're fueled, when you watch a little program that you like, or you listen to a podcast that enlivens you, or you have a little meal that makes you smile, those things empower you, put you in a position where you can be helpful to others. So that was 7 of Are You Depressed? 7 things I want to share with you. So I love you guys so much. Jake Shakes, Greasy Goose, everyone who listened tonight. The numbers you see on the screen do not reflect what I see on my side of the screen. But of course, when you're sharing something of value, it can be diminished. The numbers can be diminished. The numbers I see on my screen and when I complete the live are not the numbers that you're seeing. Those who email us, who message us and tell us how our messages have been helping them. Thank you guys so much. And you can go to modelpoetry.com, see some of the links to the various artists that are in line with what we are trying to teach. See the beautiful farm to table companies. See the gorgeous, gorgeous, wonderful, wonderful companies that are making a difference. See our amazing members like Jake Shakes, like Alt Willy Wonka, like Two Girls, One Cup. All of those who are doing beautiful things and making a difference. So give a like as we complete the live. And I love you guys so much. Thank you for all of your feedback and your beauty and your wonder. And I love you guys so much. And we'll see you next time. Don't forget to go to modelpoetry.com, share your thoughts, become a member there, and we'll see you next time.